Yeah. Yeah. Breaker, no South Jersey checking in. Danny in the shop where the real ones begin. 454s, 2290s, 2879's, all HGs hitting hard. Belling mud duck slide. Danny the man with that Dave May flair. Old school vibe, 90 smoke in the air. Forget that weak 6 pill high Q noise. This that Jersey Bill heat.
What's going on, everybody? Alright guys, what's happening, man? Alright, thanks again, Mike Smith, man, making some killer songs for me. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Mike Smith, ass master. Alright, so what we got going on here tonight is a little 2-pill 2879, and it's set up for the guy can take and run like a bigger radio. So if you wanted more drive into this unit, this system is designed where if you had like what radio is that, the 69 plus or that type of radio, that will get you, 25-30 watts peak RMS, and the peak will be up there. It'll be, I don't know, over 100 watts typically. But any way you want to cut it, it is what it is. I can only demonstrate for what I have here as far as my radios go. But with that said, I'm going to use the R&R Cobra 29. I'm going to drive it into these two 2879's by HG. And I also did some testing earlier. Did a lot of testing, actually. It's what I do a lot of. During the test, I tested with my Texas Star, and I made notes. So that way we can kind of compare the notes from the Toshiba, the Texas Star, versus where the 2879's, that's no potentiometer. This is a wide open situation in the 2-pill driving the 12. So I have some nice little cliff notes that I can share with you guys and kind of look at the difference. And it's all about the same at the end of the day. So let's open this stuff up and take a look real quick. Move a few things. Take and pop the lids of these units. Now, first off, I'm gonna run these boxes at 14.7, 14.8. Both of them, I'm gonna run them on there. Which, knowingly, you could run both these units on higher voltage. You're not gonna hurt the stuff as long as your system is correct. So that says I actually have some coax to make for this system for the guy. So let's take a walk. Let's take you over here, and I was trying to charge my phone up a little bit. So let's take a walk over here and take a look. So here's a 12 transistor unit, and obviously I left space in a quad over here. So if someone got this box at a later date or didn't want an external driver and they wanted to put an internal driver in this, it's capable. It's ready to install, meaning a driver, not turning a 12 into a 16. It's always going to be a 12 pill, at least as long as I'm working on it. So if somebody actually wanted a driver put in this stage, I designed it where I could easily put that driver stage in there and leave room for a potentiometer as well. So that's a 12 unit. It's a South Jersey unit. It's a standard 12 is what's on the list. Pretty regular business on the back. You have a 3/8 ground bolt. You have 3 6-gauge power wires coming out the back. And on this particular box, the input and output is inverted from what we're normally accustomed to looking at. So it's just, I had to make room for my wires and how I like things laying out, so I just reverse that stuff. So here's our little 2-pill driver. It's a direct drive unit. It don't have no attenuation on it, so it'll allow the radio to take and see. This amplifier will see every ounce of your radio because there's no restrictions in it whatsoever. And it'll do its job. So If you need more power, sometimes you can take and turn up your voltage a little bit on your power supply and make a little bit more power. But I say you're good up to 15.2 to 15.5. You could probably, I wouldn't really exceed that on a driver because it's supposed to be exactly a driver. And if you take and have a bigger radio and you up the voltage, you're going to make more power. So you realistically need to understand your power levels of drive. But ultimately, I mentioned in the description, we're talking about we're talking about velocity factor and coax. So coax length absolutely matters. At least it does to me, and it should matter to you guys because I take the time to mention it. But from my radio, I run a half a wavelength of 213 down to the input of this little 2-pill. All right, a 2-transistor unit. Now coming out of this unit, the phase angle normally typically wants to see a quarter of a wavelength of 213 going from the driver to the input of the 12. And that's what it wants to see. Now, don't take my word for it, test it. And the only way you're going to be able to test it is be able to have a line section with a direct coupling that you can move around your system. And so if you don't have a lot of line sections and a lot of birds, you only need one, really. You test your power, you set your dead key, you say audio, and you see it move. After that, as long as you don't touch your radio, nothing's going to change as far as what you did. Now you can take and move your line section in different places and get these same readings I'm getting ready to do on this huge cluster of meters that I have here on my test bench. Believe me, these meters are all very, very useful, and every one of them has a very important job. Now, they're not all identical, so you kind of have to read between the lines a little bit because not every slug's the same, not every meter movement's the same. You're going to have deviations, but typically they're within quote-unquote 10%. So, and that's a lot of oddities going on, especially with all the bird slugs in the world and all the different movements with the Chinese stuff and the OEM stuff, and it just keeps on going, the digital and so forth. So it's very important if you're building or if you are taking and testing, you want to have consistency of your slugs. So why? So you can take and depend on the consistency of how accurate things are. So you could take and say, oh, I got a 5,000 watt slug and this thing's showing me 1,000 watts, and I got a 2,500 watt slug and it's showing me 1,500 watts. That's somewhere's not telling the truth. So you have to keep that in mind. If they're off catastrophically, then I wouldn't always say it's the amplifier. I would sometimes check your slugs. They don't always appear to stay in perfect shape forever. So keep that in mind. So real quick, I'm going to put the skins on this stuff real quick, and then we will fire some stuff up. All right. I got so many different things to do, I decided at the last minute just to go ahead and throw this video up here. So let's light this up. We're going to look at just a 2-pill driver real quick, and this is passing through the 12. So we're not going to see, quote-unquote, all the power out of it, but at the end, I will be able to read the working power when this is driving into this unit. And that's what's important to me, is the working drive power that I have in RMS. RMS is your strength, and or it could be your enemy. If you drive too much RMS into these transistors, or any transistor as far as that goes, Toshiba, NPN, whatever, NEC, any transistor, if you overdrive them, you're going to have the death smoke. So focus on drive. I do it for you guys, and I get you guys where you got to be. But if you need more power, you have to just simply take and do some calculations, and we'll do that here. All right, so let's take a look at where we're at. I got to turn my meter back on and shut it off. All right, in the meantime, we'll take a look at our slugs. We got a 25 watt input reflection slug, a 250 watt slug going out for the driver input drive. We'll be looking at both 2500 and 5000 watt on the digital Dave, and a 2500 and a 5000 on the analog and RMS and peak in both modes. So let's start off at the beginning of the line. All right, let's look at our drive level, and this is just the little 2-pill. All right, my radio's doing full output. Audio, radio, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's showing me right about 130 watts. Audio, there's 125, audio. So 125. So let's just take a look at it over here. Keep it easy. Audio, audio, audio. Show me about 250. Let's see what it does on this slug. Audio, audio, audio. All right. That's a perfect example of what's happening. Some slugs don't read better at the lower end. Audio, 2500 watt slug, audio, audio. So 100, 150. So our peaker tweaker, let's look at this one on 5 kilowatt. 100, 150. Each line's 100. Audio, 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 audio. Show me closer to 2 on the lower end. Let's just hit the tweak, tweak, peak, peak. Audio, peaker, tweaker, tweaker, tweaker. Looks like 450 there. Let's see what it says over on this one. Audio, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. I believe at 375 or 400. Let's go down to this one real quick. Oh, that was on peak. Yeah, that's right. All right, reflection. Reflection audio. All right, so again, that's on the 5,000 watt slug, and I'll need that though, unfortunately, for the peak for the 12 pill. All right, so moving on. Peak, peak. That was your peak of your driver. Now, here is both units. Mind you, I'm down here at 12 volts. So here's our working drive now. All right, let's look at our working drive. You got drive. You say, hey, I freeballed this and I seen this much, and here's working drive, literally going into the circuit. Okay, here we go. Hello, radio, 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 radio. So it's showing me 135. I was showing 125. It's showing 135 working. Why'd that happen? Because I probably have a little bit of bypass reflection going on. All right, so that got chewed up on the bridge going across to the output to the antenna. Here's your input reflection. This is the communications. What's going on, Scott? This is the communications between the two amplifiers. This is where the quarter wavelength of coax comes in, and this is reading this box to this box, all right? And they're communicating back and forth. They're saying, hey, what's up? So each line is a half a watt, and looking at the bottom, top scale. Audio 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Audio 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're hanging out right anywhere from 2 to 3 watts input reflect. Not terrible. I ain't mad at it. So let's take a look at both our voltage and amperage up here. I'm on this power supply and I don't even got the third whacker on there. Here we go. Now I got them all up. And let's go with it. Audio, audio, audio 172, and this is all on at 14.8. That's both units tied into that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's just breathing really, really well. Now let's just take a look at 2500 analog. Yes, 2500 analog. Each line's 50 watts. Audio, 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 audio. So I'm showing 1250. All right. Now let's see what we got down here on 2500. Audio, 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 audio. 12 there. Now I'm going to go to peak in a second, so I'm going to go over to 5000 mode. Double check that. Yes, we are in 5 kilowatt mode. Audio, 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 audio. So 1250, 1300, just like we expected. And let's look at one more here, RMS on the 5 kilowatt. Audio, 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 audio. So that's 1400 watts right there. So real good. Peaker, tweaker, 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 peaker, tweaker, peaker, tweaker, all over. That's 2200. All right, let's see the peaker, tweaker over here. Audio, audio, audio. So 2350. Cool, you go out there all day and have fun with that. That's at 14.8 volts, both units. Both of them running on there. Now, I'm going to take an increase of voltage, which that's where this big box is going to normally run. I'm not going to hook up the driver on the same voltage just because I don't have the line set up, I don't think. Oh, maybe I might be able to. Think about that. Alright, so, moving on. That one. There's that one. So let's just move up this one. I guess I can hook it on the line. I can do that. Alright. So let's just increase the voltage on the 12. Alright. So let's see what our increase was. Go right into it. Audio, 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 audio. 2600. So I picked up like 300, 350 watts or so. See what the RMS is. Audio, 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 audio. So 1400 RMS. Let's take a look at our inputs. Audio, 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 audio. Still around 2.5, 3 watts. And my drive level is at the same rate to go up. We're hanging out right 135. Let's see if that extra voltage allowed it to come in. Audio, I sure did, audio. All right, so we just hammered 145 watts into this unit. Audio. Here's peak. Audio. Oh, wait, yep. Forward reflection, that's correct. Audio. All right, peak up here. Audio, we had 26 down there. Audio, that's 2450 up here. So, and here's your voltage. Audio. Here's your amperage on the 12. Audio. So 162, so y'all can kind of do the math on that. But, let's go back to the first set of math numbers. We just drove 140 watts into this unit, and you divide that by 12. So we're only putting 11.6 watts per transistor of drive. This thing's got a lot of headroom. Now I'm going to try to pick it up. I didn't do this in a test earlier, but I'm sure it'll be alright. We'll kind of do a pre-hit and see what's happening. I just need me another line, another power supply. And we should be good to go. Maybe. Yeah. Let me take and get a reading real quick, and let's just see what the little old driver is going to do at that little higher voltage. Audio. Now we're hitting 145 free ball. So we should make more power. Automatically, we're going to pick up power. Just because we inherited 3/4 of a volt extra, because that's what I'm putting into this unit. About 3/4 of a volt. Alright, let's take a peek in our input drive level now. Working drive into the 12, get a little higher voltage. Audio. And now we got a good 145 going into it. What into our input reflection? Audio. Hang out right around 2. Everything's really happy. Alright, here's 2500 watt analog. Each line's 50. Audio. So show me a good 14 there. Let's see what our peaker, tweaker, audio. Everything's good, I guess. Think. Audio. So we didn't really gain any more because the peak is maxed out for the drive level. So we increased our drive. All we did was fill up our RMS. Audio. So as you can see, our RMS numbers filled up, but our peak number did not. Why is that, Molly? How does that happen? You can fill up the RMS, but you can't fill up the peak anymore. It's kind of like your belly. It just gets full after you eat so much, you just can't eat anymore. But you got your eye on that doggone cookie, don't you? You like cookies. You're sniffing in the air for the cookies, aren't you? Hi, you gonna wave to everybody? Say, you haven't been feeling good all day? You gonna wave, Molly? Hi. Yeah, you're a good girl. Oh, you're by district. Huh? You wave with 2 hands. Huh? Yeah, did you like the box? We're not done yet, though. We're not quite finished. But I think I got a cookie for you, and I'm gonna finish up. All right, what are you gonna do for this? You gonna wave? Yeah? Okay, you're a good girl. All right, let me finish this up. All right, so by increasing my drive level, I hit 145 working. So if we took and did the calculation of 145, divide that into 12, you still got plenty of headroom into these units. So you're now only at 12 watts of transistor. So truly the box is running perfectly fine. It just not getting maxed out every time you key the box. It's got headroom in it. Now, again, this is with pretty much a quote-unquote comp radio. Well, the radio really gets up and it has to go across 2 bypasses, but let's just take and see what the radio's doing. And it's got to go through 2 bypasses, so I'm sure the numbers are going to be a little bit low just due to reflection. Audio, oh, I'm looking at the wrong slug. Audio. So it's showing me 10. Now, I can't really test it because I don't have a line section on this side, but I'm passing 10 through here. I know I'm doing every bit of 12 coming out of that radio. So by increasing your drive, you're going to obviously make more RMS, and the only way you're going to make a little bit more peak, but the only way you're going to potentially make more peak is by doing what? Increase the voltage on the back end of your box, or boxes, or radio, or anything. Because when you increase the voltage, everything seems to go up, and peak goes and it goes up too. And that's the one you'll see the most. But again, peak is a very useful tool. But if you just look at it all the time, you might be missing out on the filler, and that's the RMS. So if you don't give it the drive, you're not filling up the RMS, then you're always going to have that super high peak number. Now we can take and roll backwards on this whole deal, and we can take and back my radio way down, and then I can take and drop my voltage down on the driver, and then it's kind of a poor way of looking at a low side. But here's your peak with everything back down. I get a little carrier here. Audio. So we're doing 26, 2650 with the radio back down, and I was pumping like 145 into this. Audio. Now I'm only at 100 and 100 and audio, 200, let's see, 100 audio, 105. It's 105. What happens at 105? Let's just do it this way. Audio, 1250 RMS, peak, your tweaker, 26. Now, we're all still on that higher voltage, elevated voltage. Now I'm going to take and increase my radio and make my radio performance go. Get on up there. There we go. We'll get her dance right there. All right, let's see our input drive level now. Audio. Now we're making 150. So we're 45 watts higher drive now than where we just were. And what happened to our peak? We're at, I think, 2650. Audio. We didn't gain maybe 50 watts peak. Now RMS, audio. Yeah, we gained quite a bit, a couple hundred. So that little bit, that extra, that 145 said, hey man, turn on and get some. And that's what it did. And that's only 12 watts of transistor of drive. So what's your cap number? 20, 18, whatever you like, I suppose. But 20, I would say you better have your stuff head in the game, because otherwise you're gonna break something at 20 watts of drive per transistor. And then especially if you have input reflection or the wrong length coax, or you create your own misfortune and imbalance, you're going to have some havoc going on. You could have self-oscillation, you could lose your receive, you could lose a box, you could have some lock up. Oh, the relay locked up. It has nothing to do with the relay. Zero. Nothing to do with it. It has to do with that relay goes down and it goes up. And the box goes in oscillation. That thing, the door has closed, and that thing's just traveling. So what happens? You have to key up, let that energy out, and then shut your power down on your box. And the best thing to do is unplug it. So if you're one of those guys that got your stuff all bolted to your batteries in your vehicle, invest in some LC connectors, welding quick disconnects. They'll handle all the amperage you could ever muster up out of the little alternators you're putting under your trucks. But that's pretty much the 411 on this little kit. And like I said, I have to take and do a couple jumpers for the guy, and the kit's all done. I'm going to try to get this out of here next day or so. Hopefully I'm ahead of schedule. Might be able to get this thing out tomorrow, but I'm thinking probably be more Monday. Anyways, what else is it? Oh, there's comparison notes. Let's go over these real quick. Alright, so we have everything we need right here on this piece of paper. So the Texas Star 350, driving a 12-pill South Jersey box. So my drive was 145, just like we just saw. My input reflection was about 2 to 2.5, 3 watts, somewhere right in there. The output was RMS at 1650 watts. My peak was 2550. Now that's with the Texas Star. Now my amperage was 174 at 15.6 volts on just a 12 transistor unit. Now, the numbers are very, very close, but they're inverted a little bit. This is why I find very interesting. Where this unit, the South Jersey 2-pill, is doing 140 RMS, and it gives me the output of 1550 watts. Okay? Now, my peak is 2600, maybe a little plus. So I have an extra 50 watts peak with the box that I built versus the Texas Star, and the 50 watts peak is the difference, and the South Jersey box did a little more peak. But the RMS is exactly 100 watts in the difference. hey, each their own. But this was just a comparison, the note, and here's the giveaway right there, that amperage number, 168 versus 174, same voltage. So that tells you, that amperage number will tell you if a box is running as you're making changes better or worse. If you increase your amperage, that box better be doing better numbers than the lower amperage number. So all in all, it's really important to understand your amperage, your voltage, your peak for the peaker tweakers, and your RMS, or quote unquote, what I like to call the filler. You can have a low drive unit and still achieve almost your entirety of your peak number. But until you increase your RMS drive, the RMS won't increase until you increase that. And when you do, the peak may come up just a little bit and it'll get to its fill point. So if I took and rolled all of this stuff backwards again from where I'm setting, we'll just look at the peak number. Alright. Never wants to work with me here. I'll take my glasses off, give myself a stiff neck and make myself cross-eyed. Alright, peaker tweaker, audio. So 2650, 2700. Alright. Now everything's jacked up. I'm getting all I can out of it. Everything's on juice right now. Alright. Audio, RMS, audio. So 1450. That little bit of drive does a whole lot. Now we're going to take it away. Alright, we just took all our drive away. What happened to RMS? Audio. 12, 1250, 1150, 12. Peak. Peaker, tweaker. I didn't lose that much. Do you understand? RMS is depleted. Audio. I am holding about times 10, a little plus. Audio, Mountain Dew. I'm all hopped up like a spider monkey on Mountain Dew, old man. So, control can be had in so many different ways to run this equipment. And again, I'm running this with a low, considered a low drive radio, going to a straight tooth transistor, no potentiometer. So that allows you to drive that unit to make more power if you choose to, which I know this guy is going to, and he's going to be very, very happy with the outcome of this. So let me take a moment. Be ready. What you got? You gonna sit? How you doing? Good catch. You're like a ninja, aren't you? Huh, Molly? You like a ninja? What's going on? You don't feel good, do you? You gonna talk to me? Uh-huh. What happened? Really? You slept all day. You didn't feel good, did you? You feel a little better? Yeah? All right. You gonna do that? Want one of these? Good girl. All right, you gonna say goodbye to everybody? We gotta go. All right, man, we got so many things to do. Crazy. So this unit's done. I had to take and push through on this video so I could take and move on to the next one. I'll be taking and firing up a rebuilt 16 pill here probably tomorrow sometime. But there you go, guys. This one here is pretty much complete. I just got to cut the coax and stub tune it for the guy. Thanks for watching. Please come again. You got any questions, y'all can PM me. And if you're not subscribed to my YouTube, you can go to YouTube at 123 Built Chicago. Hit the subscribe button. You'll get notifications every time I go live. You can kind of do the same thing at Facebook. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this answered a whole lot of questions for folks. I think I covered everything. I'm out of here. Skip, roll dirty.
messy. Nighttime down, my voice sit deep. When I say goodbye, the static weave stand by. Ugly truck, head key heavy.